Lisa Bonet's story is one of the most puzzling tales in Hollywood history. She was once one of the most beloved young actresses on television, capturing hearts as Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show. But despite her popularity and talent, her career seemed to mysteriously fall apart just as she was reaching her peak. For years, people wondered what really happened to the bright star who had everything going for her. Now, decades later, the truth is finally coming to light, and it paints a very different picture of what went on behind the scenes. In the 1980s, Lisa Bonet was everywhere. She played Denise Huxtable, the free-spirited daughter on The Cosby Show, which was one of the biggest hits on television. The show wasn't just popular with audiences. It was a cultural phenomenon that made NBC millions of dollars and turned its cast members into household names. Lisa, with her natural beauty and effortless charm, quickly became a fan favorite. She had something special that made viewers connect with her character in a way that felt real and authentic. Her popularity was so strong that the network decided to build an entire spin-off show around her character. A Different World was supposed to follow Denise Huxtable as she went to college at the fictional Hillman College. On paper, this seemed like the perfect next step for a young actress whose star was clearly rising. The show was expected to be another hit, and Lisa was positioned to become one of the biggest stars of her generation. But things didn't go as planned. Despite being the central character that the entire show was built around, Lisa only appeared in one season of A Different World before quietly disappearing. She eventually returned to The Cosby Show. But even there, her presence gradually faded until she was barely seen at all. Fans were left confused, wondering what had happened to their favorite character and the actress who played her. The real story of what happened to Lisa Bonet begins with her relationship with Bill Cosby, who wasn't just the star of The Cosby Show but also its creator and executive producer. This meant he had enormous control over everything that happened on the show, including the careers of the actors who worked for him. From the beginning, there were signs that Cosby had very specific ideas about how his young co-stars should behave both on and off screen. Lisa Bonet was just a teenager when she landed the role of Denise, but she carried the same free-spirited energy that made her character so appealing into her real life. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind or challenge things she disagreed with. She had opinions about the show and wasn't shy about voicing them. For many people, this would be seen as a sign of intelligence and independence. But Bill Cosby didn't see it that way. According to people who worked on the show, Cosby didn't like it when Lisa questioned decisions or offered her own ideas. He wanted his young cast members to be obedient and follow his lead without asking questions. When Lisa showed signs of independence, it created tension between them. Instead of addressing these conflicts directly, Cosby found a different solution. He moved her out of his way by steering her toward the spin-off show. What looked like a golden opportunity to outside observers was actually something very different. Lisa herself hinted at this during a television interview in 1987. When asked why she was leaving The Cosby Show for the spin-off, she didn't try to make it sound exciting or like her own choice. Instead, she said simply, "They told me to." She also described the new show in less than enthusiastic terms, calling it not very original and saying it was just about kids in college. One of the biggest conflicts between Lisa Bonet and Bill Cosby came when she decided to star in a movie called Angel Heart. The film was very different from the family-friendly image of The Cosby Show. Lisa played a voodoo priestess in intense scenes that included violence and sexuality. She even had scenes where she slaughtered chickens in a shower of blood. The role was challenging and showed her range as an actress, but it also brought controversy. Lisa knew the movie would cause problems, so she actually asked Bill Cosby for permission before taking the role. She went to his dressing room and explained that the film would have nudity and would be controversial. According to Lisa, Cosby's response was telling. He said that he knew how the business worked and that young actors could be erased just like that. He told her she should be working, but then told her to get out of his dressing room. Later, Cosby gave interviews where he claimed he had given Lisa his blessing to do the movie. He told Ebony magazine that he had supported her decision, even though he refused to watch the film himself. He said they had strong conversations about it, and that he would speak his mind clearly if he didn't like something she did. The controversy didn't stop with the movie. Around the same time, Lisa posed nude for Interview magazine and later appeared on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. She was pushing boundaries and trying to establish herself as more than just the innocent character she played on television. To many people, this seemed like a natural evolution for a young actress trying to grow and take on more mature roles. Surprisingly, Cosby publicly claimed he wasn't bothered by these choices either. He told magazines that he had even bought the Interview magazine himself and saw nothing wrong with the photos. He tried to present himself as supportive, though his comments often came across as condescending. He talked about Lisa going through a baptism over 3 years and said she was doing well for someone her age. But not everyone believed that things were really fine between them. Many people suspected that the creation of a different world wasn't really about giving Lisa a great opportunity. Instead, they thought it was a way to move her away from the Cosby Show because of the tension between her and Cosby. Lisa's personal life became another source of conflict. In 1987, she met a young musician named Lenny Kravitz, who was performing under the name Romeo Blue at the time. The two quickly became one of Hollywood's most talked-about young couples. They were often compared to other famous pairs like Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder because of their edgy, artistic image. The relationship moved quickly, and on Lisa's 20th birthday, the couple eloped to Las Vegas. Shortly after, Lisa became pregnant. This created a major problem for the shows she was working on. At the time, it was still unusual and controversial for television shows to deal with pregnancy, especially when it involved a young, unmarried character. The first person Lisa told about her pregnancy was Debbie Allen, who was working as a director and producer on A Different World. Allen tried to find a way to incorporate the pregnancy into the show's storyline. She thought it could actually be a positive thing to show a young woman dealing with pregnancy while pursuing her education. She even went with Lisa to tell Bill Cosby about the pregnancy, making sure Lisa was properly dressed and prepared for the conversation. Allen pitched ideas about how they could use the pregnancy as part of the story. She thought it could be inspiring to show an upper-class girl having a baby and dealing with the challenges while still pursuing her goals. She was excited about the possibilities and thought it could add depth and realism to the show. But Cosby wasn't interested. A few weeks later, he made his decision clear. According to Allen, he said, "Denise Huxtable is not pregnant." He felt that if the character became pregnant on the show, audiences would no longer see her as the good girl they had come to love. Instead of finding a creative way to work with Lisa's real-life situation, the producers simply wrote her out of both shows. The way Lisa Bonet was written out of A Different World was abrupt and confusing for fans. Her character simply dropped out of college and went to Africa, with no real explanation or proper goodbye. It was a storyline that made no sense and left viewers scratching their heads about why such a popular character would disappear so suddenly. About a year later, Cosby seemed to change his mind. Lisa returned to The Cosby Show, but with a completely different backstory. Suddenly, Denise was married to a naval officer and was raising a stepdaughter. She appeared regularly for 2 seasons, but then disappeared again, this time without any explanation at all. The character just stopped appearing, and neither the show nor the network ever explained why. Years later, Cosby would claim that Lisa's departures were due to creative differences, but he never went into detail about what those differences were. Lisa also remained mostly silent about the specifics of what happened. But other cast members have hinted that the real story was much messier, and that Cosby played a major role in ending Lisa's rise to stardom. Being labeled as difficult in Hollywood is one of the worst things that can happen to an actress, especially a young black actress in the 1980s and 1990s. This single word can destroy careers and make it nearly impossible to get good roles. Once that reputation spreads, producers and directors become reluctant to hire an actor, fearing they will cause problems on set. Lisa Bonet found herself with this label early in her career, even though the evidence suggests she wasn't actually difficult to work with. Cast members from both The Cosby Show and A Different World have spoken about how she was treated unfairly and how they witnessed her being deoint. She's respected by producers and executives. Kadeem Hardison, who played her character's love interest on A Different World and stayed with the show for all 6 seasons, has spoken about how disappointed he was when Lisa left. He said that when they returned for the 2nd season, they were looking around wondering where Lisa had gone. He felt she was being cheated out of a job and was frustrated that they couldn't explore the storylines they had planned together as a cast. Jasmine Guy, who replaced Lisa as the show's female lead, was even more direct about what she witnessed. She said she actually quit the show and gave her 2 weeks' notice because she didn't like how Lisa and other cast members were being treated. She described seeing Lisa being disrespected in front of everyone during filming, with producers getting in her face and pointing at her aggressively while demanding she just do it, just say it. Guy said that Lisa was a sweet person who didn't deserve that treatment, and she felt that if it was happening to Lisa, it was happening to the whole cast. She revealed that Lisa actually had to hire security because of the hostile environment on set. This paints a very different picture from the official story of creative differences and shows that there were serious problems with how Lisa was being treated. Years later, Bill Cosby's reputation would be completely destroyed when dozens of women came forward with accusations that he had drugged and sexually assaulted them over many years. In 2018, he was convicted of sexual assault and sentenced to prison, though his conviction was later overturned on a technical legal issue, and he was released in 2021. When these allegations became public, they cast Lisa Bonet's early experiences with Cosby in a new light. In a 2021 interview, Lisa finally spoke more openly about her relationship with Cosby and what she had sensed during her time working with him. She said she didn't need to say, "I told you so," about the accusations against Cosby. She revealed that she had always sensed something dark about him, saying there was sinister shadow energy that couldn't be concealed. She was careful not to claim she had specific knowledge of any crimes, but she made it clear that she had felt something was wrong with him from early on. Lisa's daughter, actress Zoe Kravitz, also commented on the situation. She said her mother wasn't particularly surprised by the accusations against Cosby, though they did make her sad. This suggests that Lisa had shared her concerns about Cosby with her family long before the public accusations came out. Today, Lisa Bonet lives a very different life from the one she seemed destined for during her early career. Instead of becoming the major movie star many expected her to become, she stepped away from the spotlight and focused on being a mother and writer. She has 3 children and has chosen to live a much quieter, more private life away from Hollywood's pressures and demands. This shift away from acting wasn't entirely her choice. The way she was treated during her time on The Cosby Show and A Different World effectively ended her rise to stardom just as it was beginning. The difficult label that was attached to her made it much harder to get good roles, and the industry essentially pushed her out rather than giving her the opportunities her talent deserved. Lisa has rarely spoken publicly about A Different World in recent years, and when she does discuss her early career, she focuses more on what those experiences taught her about the industry rather than celebrating the work itself. For her, those shows represent not just missed opportunities, but a toxic environment that she was eager to leave behind. Lisa Bonet's story isn't unique in Hollywood. Many young actresses, particularly women of color, have faced similar challenges when they've tried to assert their independence or push back against unfair treatment. The industry has a long history of punishing actors who don't conform to what powerful producers and executives want from them. What makes Lisa's story particularly troubling is how successful she was and how much potential she had. She wasn't struggling to find work or failing to connect with audiences. She was one of the most popular young actresses on television, with a built-in fan base and proven ability to carry a show. Yet all of that was thrown away because she didn't fit into the narrow box that Bill Cosby wanted her to stay in. The story also shows how much power individual executives can have over actors' careers. Cosby wasn't just Lisa's co-star, he was the creator and producer of the shows she worked on. This gave him enormous control over her professional life, and when their relationship soured, he was able to effectively end her rise to stardom. Lisa Bonet's experience offers important lessons about power, control, and the treatment of young actors in Hollywood. Her story shows how quickly a promising career can be derailed when an actor clashes with powerful figures in the industry. It also demonstrates how labels like difficult can be used as weapons against actors who try to stand up for themselves or assert their creative independence. The fact that other cast members witnessed and spoke about the unfair treatment Lisa received makes it clear that this wasn't just a case of personality conflicts or creative differences. There was a pattern of disrespectful and inappropriate behavior that made the work environment hostile for her and others. Today, with more awareness about workplace harassment and abuse of power in Hollywood, Lisa's story takes on even greater significance. It shows how these problems have existed for decades and how they've affected the careers of talented actors who deserved better treatment. And we look back at Lisa Bonet's career, it's impossible not to wonder what might have been. She had everything needed to become a major star: talent, beauty, charisma, and a strong connection with audiences. She was part of one of the most successful shows in television history and had her own spin-off built around her character. But instead of launching a legendary career, her time in Hollywood became a cautionary tale about what can happen when young actors clash with powerful executives. Her story serves as a reminder that success in Hollywood isn't just about talent or popularity. It's also about navigating complex power relationships and industry politics that can make or break careers. Lisa Bonet may have stepped away from the spotlight, but her story remains relevant today. It's a clear example of how power, image, and control can shape or destroy a career, and how the entertainment industry has often failed to protect and support its young talent. Her experience shows that even the most successful and beloved actors can find themselves pushed out if they don't conform to what powerful figures want from them. In the end, Lisa Bonet's story is both a tragedy and a testament to resilience. While she may not have achieved the level of fame and success that once seemed inevitable, she has built a life on her own terms, away from the toxic environment that tried to control and ultimately rejected her. Her willingness to speak out about her experiences, particularly regarding Bill Cosby, has also helped shed light on the darker side of an industry that often presents a very different face to the public.